Welcome to the 12th edition of Spark Tank. Today we have five ambitious entrepreneurs pitching three VCs. It's going to be fun. We have a bunch of verticals in industry with us today. Shows about 40 to 50 minutes. The founder has 3 minutes to pitch the VCs, and then we get into questions and feedback and announce a winner at the end. So, welcome to the show. We're going to start with a round of intro. I'm Charles Cormier. I'm founder of GTM Ventures. We do go to market as a service. I'm also CEO of a company called Raz Rocket. We help people raising capital. I'm also VC of a Mac 10 fund. We invest in YC companies, 10 million per batch. So welcome to the show. Craig, you can start with a quick intro.
Hi there, I'm Craig Guile. I'm the founder and president of CoolMet. It's technology from a discovery at Stanford University and funded by the military that is a way to reduce core temperature, and we're just now bringing it to the market.
Leka, you can follow with an intro.
Hey guys, my name is Leka Vyas, and I'm the founder and CEO of Sync Wellness. I am a seasoned executive, spent over 15 years in consumer, now building Sync Wellness, which is basically vegan Ozempic and a Listerine strap.
Greg?
Hello, I'm Greg Perono. I'm the CEO of Endeavor Orthopedics. Spent 12 years in the Army and then 16 years with Synthes and Johnson & Johnson, all in the orthopedic space. Now I'm the CEO of Endeavor Orthopedics. We're focused on fixing avulsion fractures with a unique technology that addresses both bony fixation and soft tissue management. And excited to talk to you guys about it.
Tim?
Hey, I'm Tim Ketchum, founder and CEO of Composer Appliance, and what we're doing is building the first good garbage disposal.
Amir?
Hi, I'm Amir Yassin. I am CEO and co-founder of Cormati. We are a business operating system for figuring out your growth all the way to revenue.
On the VC side, we have myself. We have Kelly today. A quick intro about yourself, Kelly.
Yeah, hi everybody. I'm Kelly Bottenfield. I'm managing director at KNC Ventures, where we do angel investing, but we're also starting up some really high quality SPVs as well. Previous to that, I've been in consumer packaged goods for 27 years, co-founder of the Honey Pot Company, and was also the chief sales officer for 7 years. And we sold to private equity in 2024 for $380 million.
Sunny?
Yes, Sunny Ray. I'm also one of Charles's co-founders at GTM Ventures and Raz Rocket. We help with founders, help set them up with GTM systems. I'm also the founder of UnoCoin, which is India's first Bitcoin exchange. Started that 13 years ago, and also I'm the CEO as of, I guess, yesterday again. Charles, I don't know if I told you, but of Humanoid Global, which is a public company here in Canada. We invest in humanoid companies. Glad to be here.
Congrats. Didn't know that. Craig, you can start with your pitch. We're listening. I'm going to put your deck on stage and off we go.
So just so we're clear, can you see my screen full?
Can see it. Just click that icon and you can start.
Sounds good. Great. Again, so I'm Craig Guile. I am the founder of CoolMet. So throughout the course of human history, heat has been a problem for people. It impacts how we perform, how we work, and how we live. Conventional methods that we do to try to deal with it really only make you feel a little bit cooler temporarily. It's not a real solution. What we are doing, and it comes from these two Stanford biologists, Dr. Craig Heller and Dennis Grahn, who literally found the key to unlock how the human body dumps heat out of the body. And it's through the glabrous or hairless palms of the hands and soles of the feet. It has a different arterial structure. It serves as the body's radiators. U.S. military, through its armed DARPA, is looking for a solution for soldiers working in hot environments like the Gulf. They fund Stanford for this to create technology out of this discovery, about $5 million over 3 years. They do, in fact, create technology, and they do, in fact, prove they can cool somebody down quickly. So, again, the hands and the soles of the feet are the radiators of the body. It's 5 times more effective than the rest of the body. This video here is showing colder blood flow from the hand to the heart, and it cools you from the inside out. There's a convective heat transfer coming across your hand with at the ideal temperature, pulling heat out of your body, letting colder blood flow to your heart and cool you from the inside out. We are proven in the lab and in the field. The proof points are this will cool your core temperature down in the first few minutes 3 times as fast as anything else you can really do. And so the Stanford scientists did prove their initial mission. They stumbled upon, frankly, transformative training gains you can have in working out, both in strength training, endurance training, and for elite athletes in delayed onset of fatigue and competition. So because of that, our early customers have been elite athletes and performers. So we have over 80 professional teams as customers currently across all sports, mostly in the US, but not exclusively. We have dozens of college programs as customers as well, Olympians, Tour de France teams, special forces, military, as well as recently a lot of industrial customers have reached out to us looking for heat mitigation programs for their workers. Frankly, our strategic goal for this stage of the business was to get our technology into the hands of these elite performers, high profile, high credible social proof, but as well get some feedback from them as to what they want to see in future products. That has been successful, and that has kind of informed our next phase of business, which is to launch a new product that we've developed over the last really 18 months with our engineers. It's a patented solution. I mentioned that convective heat transfer that's necessary to this solution. We have created a very unique way and novel way for convective heat transfer by a phase change. This device will be handheld, portable. It'll weigh about a pound without ice. It creates a convective heat transfer from your hand, takes the heat away from your body, dumps it into ice that goes in the middle of this device. It'll last for about an hour in a hot environment, over an hour in a hot environment before the ice melts. But when that happens, you just put more ice in. It controls that temperature at the ideal temperature during the entire time. Feedback from our current and future and potential users have been very positive. We have a number of kind of soft circle pre-orders to get that going. But we are in the late stage of the manufacturing process of that. We do believe that this product will unlock a very large market. They're not beyond athletics, elite athletics. There's a consumer wellness and performance market, as well as a large industrial and medical market. We do have a very strong team of operators, experienced in small and large organizations across finance, marketing, operations. We also have a team of advisors that work actively with us, including the founding scientists, which is very key. We have the institutional knowledge of what works and what doesn't work, and we have some really world-class strategic advisors as well on our team. We're in the phase of raising $1 million under a SAFE. That funding will go exclusively to the go-to-market of this new product. Again, we have great early demand for it. We're very excited about bringing this product to market. We do have some plans to raise a Series A in 2027. We've already started to talk to some institutional investors who like what we're doing, and they do want to get involved. It'd be a better fit for them once we have this product raised. So that's what our ask is. That's where we are. Look forward to answering any questions and discussing this in more detail whenever you have interest. So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Craig. Yeah, I like the technology, right? As an athlete, as an ultra athlete, I have a race in 2 weeks from now, 125K, and could see myself using that at the aid stations, right? Just to cool myself off. And ultra's picking up as a sport, and I feel all the top ultra runners could actually need that, right? Like they're competing at very high levels, and heat management is probably a top 3 concern, right? There's hydration, and there's like sodium intake, there's like sugar intake, right? And all of that, but like temperature management is key in this sport and a bunch of other sport. The question is, when I look at this as an investors, like why not have a thermos with ice in it? I think you and I discussed last time, but don't you feel this is like the first reflex for people is like, why buy this thing and not just fill something with ice?
Yeah, it's a good question. We get it. So that's the first question people ask. And so as luck would have it, the human body doesn't work that way. If it's too cold, you put your hand in ice, it's called vasoconstriction, and actually that'll contain heat in your body. So you can't do that. That's why I kind of mentioned this is convective heat transfers at the ideal temperature, which is cool, but not cold. And to your point, one other question that I always get is, how long does this take to work? And the reality is it starts to work right away. So if you are overheated, it starts to pull heat out right away. We see people who have a noticeable difference within 30 seconds of using it. 2 to 3 minutes tends to be the best bang for the buck of treatment. So it does incorporate very easily and seamlessly into routines. So, as we grow and this, we grow the category, helpfully people already have set routines for hydration breaks. So this can very easily be incorporated in any hydration break. And frankly, I can show numbers how this is actually more immediately impactful than a hydration break, but hopefully you can do both at the same time.
I know the science. I already knew the answer to that question. My question was more like, as a product, shouldn't you change the shape or form so that you enter the mind in a better way? I mean, there's the mint, right? But then it seems the mobile version looks like a thermos, right? So my question, I know that the science that your thing does something, but consumers are not so intelligent, right? And every time they will see this, they will think like, oh, a thermos, right? Oh, I don't get it, right? And that will be the stop of your product being bought on their side. So can you say something about that?
Yeah, so there'd definitely be some messaging that we have to get there to educate the market on the power of what this is doing for people. The final product will be, industrial designed in a better manner to kind of like, be more distinctive. One thing,
Like
we'll say,
round, right? Like some industrial designs, round in the shape of a hand or something that is fun to
yeah,
see.
I mean,
Where I'm
the good
getting at.
point. The one thing is like we have to be consistent with what actually works. So if something is like too narrow, you squeeze it, and that restricts your blood flow, therefore restricts the heat transfer. So we are limited by basically how the human body works to some degree. One thing we can do with that, and so when I mentioned kind of a patented process within the walls of that mobile device, something along the lines of like Intel Inside used to be on your computer, so they're kind of telling you what's actually operating inside. I have a message similar to that, vaso cooling inside, so people know it's not just why they're paying $200 for this frankly transformative technology, why they can't just buy their Yeti tumbler at Dick's Sporting Goods. So we definitely know we have to get to message correctly to the market, and part of that is to a B2B sale to like large industrial customers. We're already working with large shipbuilders, oil companies, chemical companies, and so getting out the bulk purchases to the people that know the science and know the benefits will kind of get the ball rolling on that.
Okay, just one last thing before I let others speak. Again, it's on the product side. Why not a patch, right? You and I, we talked about my 8 Sleep, which probably has this very similar science. It's not that my mattress is physically cooling my body, it's that my mattress sends a signal that, oh, you're in a cool environment and you can sort of relax and fall asleep or something. Why not a patch that is portable?
Yeah, so a patch. So first of all, the 8 Sleep will eventually bring your temperature down by the mass of your whole body, but not very rapidly. So this works rapidly. That convective heat transfer is not as simple as it looks. So the engineering to actually make it work, you need something to apply the right part of the body and actually have the heat go away. So a patch would be contained in it would cool something briefly, but the heat has to go somewhere. So you need to dump the heat into an effective heat sink.
Got it.
We're talking about who you're going to market with, so I'm curious of like your go-to-market strategy. And it sounds like obviously you're working with a lot of athletes and things like that, but what is your overall go-to-market strategy, D2C or in retail? What does that look like for you?
Yeah, so good question. So our overall go-to-market strategy with this new product, and frankly, the athletes are obviously a high profile, but more of a marketing launching pad than a full market. That being said, it does drift down into a much larger market of youth sports, travel sports, and all that. So that is a component to. There's a enterprise sale to that to different teams, organizations, but really initially a lot of our efforts going to go toward B2B sales to get into the large industrial companies. Frankly, the military is a lot of use cases for the military. That is a longer lead sale. It's a Byzantine procurement process for the military, which I'm well aware of. Well, I didn't mention it, but my first act of my career was flying jets for the Navy, so I kind of am familiar with the Navy. So yeah, it's going to be a B2B strategy, getting it out there. And I've kind of just recently brought on a new marketing person to kind of focus on that industrial sales and preparation for this launch.
Okay, and then are you looking at Amazon? Is this something you would do on Amazon? Or do you feel like that it's the price point's too high, or maybe the education?
I think education has to happen. So, we can certainly make that, Amazon can obviously volume sell and we can make, whatever margin work, I guess, with them. But if we threw it on Amazon now, it's a new category and no one's going to know what it is. So
Yep.
we need to educate the market first, sell through our own channels, and then down the road, either distribution partners or an Amazon for the direct sale to consumers.
Yep, that makes sense. Thank
I have a question related to that, Craig. How do you sell that to consumer? I mean, I just organized a retreat with pretty high level people, and most of them didn't even want to join me on basic stuff like electric biking, right? Like it seems performance is not something for most normal people. There's weekend warriors. Why would they buy your thing? I don't know, before a Terragun, for example, or other basic gear for their favorite sport activity?
So if there, so a couple things. One is getting the word out effectively. So as an example, I mean, I just had a conversation earlier today. A guy reached out to us who's like a YouTuber. He gets like a couple million views on all of his content. He and a bunch of guys just did a workout routine with the Coolmint and some other products, and they're going to put it out there. So it'll attract, whatever his audience is, are presumably people who are fitness interested. So again, I didn't even really go into the numbers. The numbers are silly. What you can get in terms of your performance when you start working out with this. I mean,
What is it? It's 25% increase?
so the published study, people did in a 4-week plan workout at Stanford, 144% increase in pull-ups in a full, peer review control group of this peer reviewed study.
So if I did 10, I could do 14 with the Coolmints.
I'll give you an example of this guy just did. So he, and this is the first time using it. So when you train with it over time, you get a crazy training gains. But he did 4 sets of pull-ups without cooling to failure. First set was 26, plateaued at 10, cooled once, and did 16 pull-ups on the next set. So if you did that between every set, which I actually encourage them to do, you can literally have like 40 to 70% more volume of reps. And you train like that as a physiological adaptation to your body of these sustained training gains. And we have data behind all that. So to answer your question is like, get the word out through influencers or social media to those customers. Anybody that goes to the gym to working out, hard is going to want to see, going to want to do as well as they can. So why, if you're going to be there for an hour, why not get the most out of it? And so why they wouldn't buy a Theragun or something, because it's a completely different recovery. So they're after the fact, you want to recover your muscles, feel better. We are actually dynamic recovery. You can do while you're working out, while you're doing your ultra marathon, and then actually get the heat out of your body and then go perform better. So the whole premise of it is, if you can effectively get heat out of body, which heretofore is very difficult to do until these scientists discover it, you can then go do more work, whatever you're doing, be it working in a shipbuilder, be it doing a triathlon, or being in the gym.
Sunny?
Yeah, amazing work, by the way, and congratulations on all the success
Thank
thus
you.
far. So I was going to ask you, if this works well, as kind of like the data says, like Nike or some big med tech will notice, right? So is your defensibility the patents? Is it the founding scientists, or is it something else? And which of them, I guess, matter the most?
Yeah, so a good question. We think about it all the time. The moat is, we do have patents that we are licensing from Stanford. We've created new patents around the new products that we've done. I know as well as anybody that a patent is only as good as how much you can afford to defend it. So there is some complexity, frankly, if someone wanted to, the manufacturing of this product that we've figured out. So that is actually an additional moat. An additional moat is the founding scientists. We have their institutional knowledge, not only what works, but frankly, what doesn't work. So there are some other products that are coming into the space that do not know that, and they do have product features that limit this effectiveness. So I'm not saying they don't work at all, but we will always be, we think, the gold standard of effectiveness for this. So, and then we have to get, be effective in executing the business and becoming like the go-to device in this category. But the reality is, I'm not sure if you saw the numbers, and I'm personally not one big on TAMs, but it literally is a tremendously large market. Anybody in the planet at some point will be affected by temperature.
80 billion, I think.
80 billion, and that's calculated on our current products, and we'll have future products down the road that can kind of, I think, even enhance that. So from scalability perspective, if I would think as an investor, the scalability is multiple use cases. So beyond athletics and work, but also there's medical use cases, there's menopause benefits, there's MS benefits, all these other benefits, but also scalability and geography. So all
Well, actually, that was gonna be my other question, Craig, which is like, what's the bridge from like locker rooms to job sites, and like, why hasn't anyone crossed it before you?
So it's a new technology. People are, companies. There's whatever their different motivations are. Individuals. There is a teach an old dog new tricks component they need to get over. But we are talking to the ESG people within companies, and it's their job to implement new technology, and so they see the benefit. And every time we all see things in the press that it's a zillion degrees out and people are dropping like flies. It kills me because I had the solution for them. I need to get it to them. And so I'm not saying there's I certainly understand there are challenges to getting from a early product to a larger market. We think we know a good way to get to it, and it's not going to happen in a day, but it is a large opportunity that we're trying to exploit.
Oh, should we keep moving, or can I ask one more?
I just have one more. Like,
you go
do you
ahead.
have like a SaaS model to it, like 8 Sleep? I'm constantly paying for something with them, or Whoop, right? Like, is there a model in which we could get the clients to pay on a monthly basis?
Yeah, so replicable revenues are in future products. One is the product after this, that we have about 80% design, can actually it's electronically cooled, controls the flow of water. It can, for what it's worth, both cool and warm, which there's a benefit for that for hypothermia. That has a benefit for EMTs as well as medical. And so that device is a smart device. We'll be able to capture information from the user as to how much heat's being pulled out. That'll be able to be integrated into fitness apps. So that can be a subscription type of model. We also have already started a design of a heat metric app, kind of like your Whoop strain index. We have created like a heat index as to how much heat's been coming out of your body. And then, next stage down the road in the medical, on the warming side, there is a medical opportunity for people coming out of anesthesia, routinely or hypothermic. Stanford scientists have a published study in Stanford Hospital, frankly, by orders of magnitude, warming people up through these portals. That would be a disposable interface. And so because kind of your razor blade recurring revenue model for that.
Got it. Well, thanks for the pitch, Craig. Let's go to our next one. So we have Greg on stage here. We can see your screen loud and clear. Stage is yours.
Okay, excellent. Thank you, Charles. So my name is Greg Perano again, CEO of Endeavor Orthopedics. And you can see our catchphrase there, where bone and soft tissue meet. When you look at the market right now, you've got sports medicine surgeons and companies that support them that address soft tissue injuries. And then you have the orthopedic surgeons, trauma surgeons that are fixing broken bones. And there's really aren't any products on the market to address those bony fractures that have soft tissue components and require, a product that addresses both. So we're the first product in the market to really do that in a clean, concise way. So who are we? Endeavor Orthopedics, an IP protected platform technology company focused on the treatment of avulsion fractures through the integration of both the fracture repair, that's the bony repair, and the soft tissue management. And we provide all of that in a single-use sterile kit. So this is an image on the right of our product that is commercial and on the market. It's a Summit patella plating system designed to address bony fractures of your kneecap. We've got about $1.5 million worth of revenue, and we've done just over 300 surgeries with that kit. Impressively, the company, we're founding surgeon and orthopedic trauma surgeon, with about $2 million raised, they were able to get this product onto market in 2023, which is extremely inexpensive for a medical device product. So very, very frugal. I joined in December of 2023 at a point when we didn't have any money. We had very little inventory, no direct employees, and really took that to where we're at today. We raised a $2 million convertible note. We've built over $3 million worth of inventory, and we've really prepped a pipeline of products to go on. Now we're doing a $6 million equity raise. Of that raise, we have a lead investor, and they required us to convert from an LLC to a C corporation. We did that conversion in April of this year, 2026. And then in the last couple of months, we've brought in 2.65 million of that raise. There's about 3.35 left, and I'm actively looking to close that round as we continue to progress. So why treat avulsion fractures? And so avulsion fractures are just notoriously difficult fractures to fix. And you can see these images, right? The kneecap, it's attached to the quadriceps and the patellar ligament. You've got the olecranon, which is your elbow, which is attached to your tricep tendon. Pretty straightforward to put that bone back together. But as soon as you mobilize the joint, those muscles are pulling on your bony fragment and creating pain and movement at the fracture site and leading to reoperations and implant failure. So what we do is we include the sutures in there that tether to the soft tissue and offload those forces to create a better healing environment. The most exciting thing about our company and the reason we started with patella is because we're proving it out. They had a study last year out of MOI in Melbourne, Australia, that looked at J&J's implant, which is market leading, and showed a 40% failure rate. The exciting thing is if the surgeon used the Synthes, the J&J Synthes plate, and then did something additional to address the soft tissue, it dropped to an 11% failure rate. We are designed to address both, and with over 300 surgeries, we're seeing less than a 5% reoperation rate. So great results, getting a lot of traction, but that's a low volume procedure. It's only $200 million market when you look at the kneecap. So this raise is launching the elbow and some utility plates that will be used in the shoulder and the hip. So these 5 implants are in development. They're going to launch. I just did a cadaver lab in Miami last weekend. These products will be launched at the end of Q1 2027. And that's our catalyst to go from, 1 to 2 million in sales to 10 to 15 million in sales within a very quick period of time, because it's the same surgeon, same call pattern, and same core technology to get there. This just shows our ramp right now. We're currently have an 80% gross profit margin. We expect to maintain that through our development. Our goal is to be trending to 24 million within 36 months. But really, when we hit that 15 to 20 million, we'll be looking to an exit to one of the large strategics in that space. So really, we see ourselves in 2028, mid 2028, really ramping up our conversations with strategics, already in conversations with all of them, but looking to prove it out and maximize our multiple and return to investors in the short term. So with that, I've got a whole lot more of the deck, which I'd love to share if somebody's interested, but that's the 3-minute version. I went over a little bit.
I love it, man. I love how crisp that was. All the numbers that satisfied my VC brain for sure. A couple of questions. The kit, how much does it cost right now? And what part is reimbursed by insurance and stuff?
Yeah, so right now the ASP that we're getting for our kit is $4,970. So it's about $5,000 for the kit. And that's reimbursable through insurance, right? So when you look at it, we've yet to go to a VAC committee, which is a value analysis committee, and not get it approved. If you look at, for example, the J&J product, the Pew Synthes product, that retails for close to $9,000. Now they do large discounts, right? So, I mean, you see an ASP in a large J&J system, around $3,600. So we're coming in at a premium to that. And that's because, again, the J&J product fails 40% of the time, unless you do the extra product. So we're providing that soft tissue component and the sterile packaging. And right now surgeons can do that, right? They can fix a plate with, they can fix a fracture with the plates and then tie sutures or use anchors or do something additional to address the soft tissue. Those surgeons that are doing that and now are using our implant, they're just saying, hey, you saved me 30 minutes. You saved me 45 minutes in the OR by making it very easy to accomplish that.
Why did they bring you as a CEO, Greg?
Well, I spent 16 years with Synthes in a bunch of different roles. I led global product development and marketing for Synthes Maxillofacial. I was national director of extremities and biologics. I finished up as a VP of sales for trauma and extremities for the Midwest, overseeing about 250 million in revenue. But I will tell you, when we were Synthes, we had all our own development, and I led global product development for the maxillofacial line. When J&J acquired us, they really stopped the innovation, and they are the internal R&D, and they innovate through acquisition. So I was involved in a couple of acquisitions with J&J, and I had a good time. I enjoyed the role that I had in J&J, but I was like, man, I'm on the wrong side of the table here. They're having more fun on the startup side. They're solving real clinical problems and working with surgeons to advance patient care and healthcare. So I proactively was looking for to move to get into the startup space. And I saw this product. I knew the founding surgeon, and it addresses a real clinical problem. So
And you're also an ex-military, right? Like 15 years?
Yeah, 12 years. 12 years in the Army. And so to Craig, the last Go Army beat Navy. Our founding surgeon was a Navy surgeon, so we talk a lot of friendly talk between the Army and the Navy. But yes.
I love it. Yeah, I'm sold. I'm just curious, like on the GTM side of things, right? Like, how did you get in the first couple of clients? You said I think 1.5 mil. Can you tell me a bit more on that front?
Yeah. So the way it works, I mean, an orthopedic trauma surgeon is going to have the say on what they want to use in a procedure when it happens, right? I can tell you there's a Samir Mehta who's on our surgeon advisory board at UPenn, is going to be doing a white paper on a case. He had a patient, he just joined, did his first case. He's done a couple of cases now in the last couple of months, but his first patient had failed. She'd been, her patella, her kneecap had been fixed 4 times and reoperated on 4 times. And then he's like, let me use your product. And this is the 5th time, knock on wood. It's been almost 8 weeks. It's still good to go. Oh, I shouldn't have knocked on wood. My dog barked. But you know, that one is healed. Now it's healed. And he's going to do a write-up on that. So he championed the product, saw it, wanted to use it. Now has seen the success. So he helped us get on contract at UPenn. And then we have to have local distribution because there's a rep in the room for every surgery. So that's a lot of our commercial go-to-market strategy. We need to set up those strategic partnership with local distribution. And we hired a chief revenue officer in November of last year, and he has been building that. We've got about coverage in about 25-30% of the country right now, and we're working to expand that.
And I get that was my question, Greg. And so funny, going back to your comment of like, I wanted to be on the other side of the table. That's how I feel about entrepreneurship, because I've been, obviously my company sold to a private equity, but I've been with other companies that have sold to other strategics. And I'm like, ooh, I'm on the wrong side here. I got to go back to, you know, the entrepreneurial side. But I guess I'm curious, I don't know a lot about this space, and I'm curious of like, how do people who need this know to go with your product versus another product? Is it something that, you know, you're working with the surgeons and they're educating the person who's getting it, or is there some other way that they find out about to go to their surgeon and say, no, this is what I want, this works better?
So no, great question. And in orthopedic medical devices, especially for trauma, there's really no marketing to the consumer, right? Because somebody gets into an injury, and the number one mode, for example, for a kneecap injury is a car accident. Your knee slams into the dashboard. You get rushed to the emergency room, a trauma surgeon, you know, they're going to see you. The trauma surgeon is going to fix you, right? And the patient's going to be at whatever the trauma surgeon uses, right? So our customer is the surgeon. We need to get to the surgeon. We do the education on the equipment to the surgeon. And once the surgeon says, yes, this is a product that solves a need that I have in the operating room, they then bring it to their hospital and say, I need this system. I need this to be available to me. When these fractures come in, I can fix them. So the sales cycle is pretty long, right? It takes, you know, if I'm targeting a surgeon, it could be 6 months before I get my first surgery with them, because I've got to meet with them, sell them. They've got to then bring it to their hospital. Now, there's also other hospitals where a surgeon sees us, or they heard about it from somebody. I need it. And I get a call saying, hey, I got a surgery tomorrow. Can I get your system? And the answer is yes, because it's sterile packed. And they make some calls, they get a one-time approval, and we bring it in to do the surgery. But to get into the large systems, it takes a little bit of time.
Well, that's good to know. Thank you.
Yep.
Sunny, any questions on your side?
Yeah, maybe I misheard, but so if avulsion fractures have up to that 50% reoperation rates, and then you're seeing under 5, like if the data is that dramatic, like what's stopping every like trauma surgeon from switching tomorrow?
So the one thing is the education and getting the product out there and making it available. And when we say up to patella fractures, there's a lot of literature that will show 50 to 70% failure rate. There's also, there's a study out there that shows the Synthes, the J&J plate, having less than a 1% failure rate. But if you look at the post-op protocol, they kept those patients in full extension for 6 weeks locked up. You know, and there's some surgeons, there's papers that will advocate casting the leg after you've fixed it. Anybody who's an athlete or moves around, it's very bad for a patient to have their leg non-load bearing full extension for 6 weeks. The atrophy to the bone, the loss of momentum afterwards. So there are ways to fix these fractures that are not designed for early mobilization and getting your patient back to their quality of life and then having the bone heal, right? So there's a lot of discussions around the right way to fix the fractures. Our less than 5% is getting traction right now. So we're doing I didn't put up the slides with our surgeon advisory board, but we have a world-renowned surgeon advisory board that joined. the head of MOI, who wrote, his group wrote that paper with the 40% failure rate of the J&J plate, joined my surgeon advisory board. I mean, he saw the presentation and was like, "Hey, I want to be on board." So we're gonna
Actually, I was going to ask you about that because you brought that up a couple times, right? So you're building, you said to, I guess, sell it like a $15 to $20 million revenue, right, to a strategic. So why would J&J or Stryker buy you rather than just maybe copy the suture integration?
So right now we've got 9 patents that have been issued, 5 that we own, 4 that we license, and then we've got multiple patents pending as well. And we'll continue to build that IP portfolio. And all of our IP is around that suture plate interface. When you look at the large strategics, they don't develop right now. I mean, they're not developing these type of incremental improvements. They do R&D, but they're whole systems, right? A new total knee, a new robotic system. They're focused on those large improvements. An improvement like this, they're going to acquire it. And there's 4 major players in the space. So as soon as one gets traction in a new area, they get access to new surgeons, and they get access. So a lot of it has to do with that access.
Just if there's a few more minutes, just one last or 2 questions. So first of all, surgeons are obviously famously loyal, right, to their tools and whatever they like using. So what's the moment kind of in the OR that kind of converts them from J&J into something like an Endeavor believer?
Yeah, I mean, right now, the moment, you never get to the OR. So the moment has to happen before the OR, right? And we've got to show them the product. And first of all, a lot of it is hearing from other surgeons, right? So we've got our key group. We just, in that cadaver lab that we had in Miami, we brought in our surgeon advisory board. We also brought in our marketing partners. We did a recording interview with all of those, and we will have a social media marketing push targeting specifically to other surgeons, right? And we'll do online webinars and education for them to have continuing education and credit. But then hearing the success that surgeons they respect are seeing will get them to use the product. Now that tends to lead to a slow rollout. It's not like all of a sudden, boom, this makes a hit and everybody's using it. That's not the way usually medical device happens, because it is the best way is word of mouth from other surgeons and the educational events we need to put on. And quite frankly, if you look at J&J Trauma, it's a $2 billion business, right? They've got almost 2,000 sales reps all over the market. Stryker is actually probably going to overtake J&J this year in trauma. Smith & Nephew, Zimmer Biomet, they all have their portfolios. They all have their reps. It would be futile for me to try and compete with them because I have a niche product for a specific product. It's a $2 billion market, but it's $2 billion market in a big market, right? So once we get our traction, we sell to one of the bigger players, and then they will expand the market and leverage their presence to grow it.
Cool. Thank you very much, Greg.
I have one quick question. I'm so sorry to we're over, but just real quick, what kind of multiples do you see in this category when you sell to a strategic?
So I should have put that slide up. That was the next slide that I had on there, but it's 6.8 times revenue is the average multiple in the med device space. Now I was involved in the acquisition of Crossroads by J&J. That was a 12.8 multiple. And that was because of the rest bus pipeline that they had and they were growing. So I would target, well over the 6.8 multiple. So my goal would be to exit the company around $200 million plus or minus within about a 3-year time frame once I hit that 20 million in revenue.
Awesome. Thanks, Greg.
Thanks, Greg. Amir is next. Amir, welcome on stage. You can unmute yourself and start presenting.
Hi, thanks. Once again, I'm Amir Yassin, CEO and co-founder of Cormati. Most growth stage companies walk in here and ask you to fund the future. I'm going to ask you to fund the present. We built Cormati and we built the demand engine. Behind it, we built the customer base, all bootstrapped. In 3 minutes, I'll show you how we're scaling, why it works, and why the same business that's already producing revenue from $0 of outside capital is about to deploy your check to gain leverage that we couldn't reach alone. The mid-market companies run most of their important customer relationships on chaos. Sales happen in WhatsApp or SMS, support happens in email, follow-ups happen in spreadsheets. The buyers pay for an agency, a CRM, inbox tool, ticketing systems, report stack, you name it, and they still can't trace a single cent of revenue back to a conversation. In both the U.S. and Latin American both the U.S. and Latin American businesses run on WhatsApp, SMS, email, socials, and all these channels are the least connected to any system of record. The mid-market is fragmented everywhere, but especially acute in Latin America, where WhatsApp is the default for anything you need. Agencies report clicks, software vendors sell seats. Neither owns the full loop, so leads leak, context is lost, response times lag, and there's no accountable outcome, and that's the gap Cormati was built to close. Cormati is one platform that closes the entire loop, from the first click to the dollar that lands in the ledger. There's 5 steps. Generate, runs the media, the audiences, and the outbound, so the demand comes from one accountable partner instead of an agency you can't audit. Engage catches every response in a single inbox across WhatsApp, SMS, email, any other sort of messaging platform. AI can answer those or seamlessly transfer back and forth between humans and AI. Understand is where the AI mines these conversations into signals each business actually runs on. And these aren't generic analytics. They're questions your operators ask every day. Operate turns it into a pipeline, service tickets, projects, and real economics. And then Prove ties it all back to revenue and outcomes in one system of record. That's the whole loop. Growth is where the engine kind of starts. We do, as I said, AI managed media, audiences, and outbound sold on verified outcomes instead of hours and seats. Engagement in the inbox catches every response. Operations is where these conversations turn into all the pipeline stuff. And each project has its own ledger tied to anticipated revenue, so you can see profitability in real time. The AI intelligence runs on our own proprietary infrastructure, not rented tokens, which is how we hold our margins and keep our customer data secure. Customizations through our feature we call Canvas and custom fields is the layer that lets each customer reshape the platform around how they work. The more customers add, and the more a customer adds and molds Cormati to their business, the harder it is to walk away, and that's how the switching costs really compound. We have 2 verticals, but really it's one motion. We have enterprise in the US and Latin America, mid-market service businesses like solar companies, field services, multi-location operators, legal services, anywhere high volume conversations drive project-based revenue. Civic is our Mexican municipalities and campaigns arm that provides citizen registries, benefit delivery, ground game analytics. They look like different businesses, but the underlying work is identical. A contact and a citizen are basically the same record with slightly different augmentation. The inbox, the campaigns, the AI, the service desk, the reporting, all the same platform. A solar company qualifies a lead, books an install, service.
Tamir.
Sorry, okay. A municipality registers a citizen, enrolls them in the program, delivers the benefit. Same workflow, same different vocabulary. One product serves both, and that's why diversification. We get diversification without paying for it twice. We're already profitable. We've onboarded 8 customers in the last 7 months, averaging about $3,700 a month per customer. We're bootstrapped since 2025, and we're going to start paying ourselves from revenue, not from this round, which means your investment goes to pure growth capital. You're buying into a business that already works. Why us? We're a team that ships at scale. I built data-intensive systems. Carlos brings 10 years of government sales. Jordan ran $420 million in media, and Denise leads creative and brand marketing with a large Texas referral network. We're asking $500,000 on a safe at a $8.5 million valuation cap, and we're also offering a potential buyback on that for 2.5x within 48 months. So Cormati connects growth, conversations, deliveries, and measurable revenue for organizations that shaping the United States and Latin America. Thanks.
Thanks,
I went a little bit
Samir.
over. I apologize.
I love the start of the presentation. You got me my attention with the present via the future thing. The slides I would have loved to see a software. To me, it looked like a vibe coded presentation with like some pretty broad stuff. I love seeing that you have customers as well, right? Like that's good. I'm just still not sure what you're exactly building, and it seems the government and enterprise. You won't be able to convince me that they're two of the same thing. You know, they're not. They're super different, and they're both like different companies. So I'd like to see like focus on one company, and if it is to track the conversion on an enterprise level from A to Z. I think I saw like some cold email in there, some potentially agentic GTM. Is that what this is?
Yeah, so what we're doing basically is on the lead gen, there's a market between about $1,000 and $10,000 where we provide a lot of agentic resources and then one marketing resource that can oversee all of that and drive that for you. A lot of agencies are trying to do that. They're trying to protect their margins. What we're trying to do is basically get you the most you can get out of that lead gen. On the government and business side, so for us, the way we operate, we have a single core system that's adaptable. It's slightly different data, but their processes and what, especially in Mexico, we're not in U.S. governments where they're a little more complex. I agree. For Mexican governments and for Mexican campaigns, it really is the same motion as our enterprise. We deliver, for example, we have benefit delivery in Coatzacoalcos, which is a city here in Mexico. That is effectively projects that run for those citizens, right? So yeah, surface wise, it does seem very, very different. What we've done is boil it down to basically the same thing.
Yeah, I'm not bullish on either. I live in Mexico. I would never do business here, especially in politics. It's hell. Anyway, maybe you could convince me of that in another call. And then I've been in sales for 15 years. I've been running various sales agency. Running your own recursive GTM software is rocket science. Me and Sunny are also doing it, but we have that edge of trying out so many people and having figured out like so many other tweaks in the machine, right? And I've heard about the per lead gen thing. There's been various Y Combinator companies doing that, and most of them have pivoted to something else because it's near impossible. But yeah, Kelly or Sunny, do you had other questions or feedback or
I'm
comments?
curious. So, for the customer, like, is this like an annual program? Is there like how much does it cost to them? Is it an annual program? Is it a month by month?
Yeah, we charge a monthly subscription fee, and we charge a 1 month onboarding fee. So it takes us about a month to onboard a client because we really get into their business, we understand it, we build out the systems so that it's very seamless for their people. The general cost, our average ticket size is about $3,700 a month. That's driven up by the government sales. So we sell to campaigns and to governments. The campaign to government cycle, while I agree with you that Mexican politics is crazy, we have one of my co-founder, Carlos, has been selling into Mexican campaigns and into Mexican government for over 10 years. So he has the relationships necessary. And that's really the key, is knowing the right people. those tickets are generally between $8,000 to $12,000 a month is what we generally get. Our enterprise customers pay anywhere from $1,000 to $3,500 a month.
And then it is you talked about the apps that you integrate, like the WhatsApp, obviously, email. What about like Slack and Monday? Do those?
Yeah, we can basically integrate any data source, and it's bi-directional communication.
Okay, great.
So if a customer sends you a message on WhatsApp, our agent picks it up. It can answer. It can transfer it to a human. A human can transfer it back to the agent, and it's extremely seamless.
Mhm.
Hey Charles, maybe I'll just a few questions, right? So I guess you mentioned a couple times that you said that the key to government sales is knowing the right people, and Carlos essentially holds those relationships. But I guess what happens to Civic if Carlos leaves? Is that a business or more like a role?
I mean, yeah. So we're building out more of a sales force in both enterprise and civic sales. I mean, Carlos is my co-founder, so he's not going anywhere, but he could get hit by a bus. That's true. That would definitely hurt our civic sales, right? Because it is almost 100% relationship based. Like, you basically can't sell to a city without talking to the mayor. You can't sell to a campaign without having a connection that can get you in front of the campaign. And Carlos has those connections, so he's able to do that pretty easily. We're anticipating probably about 10 campaigns this year that'll sign up. We've already signed up one, and we're on track to sign up, I think, 3 more in the coming few weeks.
The other thing I was wondering about was you said there's like a month of, I guess, deep onboarding per client, right? That's great, I guess, for stickiness, but brutal for scale, right? So how many clients can you onboard per month today, and like what breaks first when you demand?
Yeah, that's a great question. So part of the raise is going towards, so it's 80% sales, 20% implementations. The implementations is the onboarding team. So we're going to grow the onboarding team. Onboarding isn't a complex thing, but it does require the client to produce certain artifacts, and those artifacts just take time to put together. It's not necessarily like a month of effort on our part. Like, we're not like hands down doing things for a month. It's mostly the client putting things together in a way that we can all understand and then put into the system. The real effort that we spend doing that is probably, I'd say, 3 to 4 days.
All right. Well, thanks for your time, Amir. Thanks for coming on the show. Up next, Tim. Tim, stage is yours.
Hi. I obviously am Tim Ketchum. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Composer. My co-founder and I, he has a long history in climate founding, 2 successful companies, including Charm, which is a unicorn or close to it now. But we're pretty jaded about helping the environment. So we decided, what if we could build a company that would sort of help the environment on the side, right? Food waste is a huge issue, blah, blah, blah. Everyone knows this. Composting is a solution everyone uses, but it doesn't really work because people don't do it because it's harder. So we need a way that is easier and faster and better than composting or landfilling food waste. And what we settled on is the garbage disposal. Obviously, a lot of people have garbage disposals, especially in the US. That penetration rate's almost 60%. But the question is, well, if that's the case, why is only 15% of food waste going down them? And the answer is, they're a product that everyone buys, but nobody really likes. They have one, they don't use it enough. So we're trying to identify why people didn't. We did a ton of market research. We found out that these are the main issues, right? You're afraid of it. Plumbing, you don't like the smell. They're hard to clean. They make a ton of noise, and they're really unsafe. But these are all engineering problems, and so they're all very solvable in 2026. So what did we do? We went out and we built the garbage disposal that we would want to have. It starts with a handle and a stainless steel metallic drain iris, sits in your sink, replaces the nasty rubber gasket, normally sits partially open, so water and food can flow down it, but your spoons won't. When you want to put food in, we want it to be easy. You lift up on the handle, opens completely, food falls in. When you want to grind, you push down, door closes completely and safely, operates much quieter, and better in all those axes I just talked about. How do we approach the clogging issue, right? That's the main issue, though. You just build a stronger garbage disposal. There are 1 horsepower ones on the market, but that's like a baseline for, hey, this garbage disposal never jam. We put one in there. You can put a whole rack of ribs down a garbage disposal if it's 1 horsepower. Then we integrated like an automatic water flush. Instead of having to run your sink, that's a huge cause of problems, is people don't run it enough. And so it automatically injects directly into the disposal, rinsing that food down your pipes. And then finally, we added bioenzymes, which help break down the food that's in the disposal, and more importantly, help break down food that's in your pipes before it actually starts to clog. Also gives us a nice recurring revenue stream on that. So that's the basic idea of the disposal. But why do we think that like there's actually a market for this? Why attack this problem that no one has really looked at in 40 years, right? Because the existing disposal is really good at grinding up food, but hasn't done anything really beyond that. And that's because there's no such thing as a premium garbage disposal right now, right? Any object you put in your home, there's a regular cheap version and it works-ish. And then there's a nice version that actually works well and helps your lifestyle, right? The Toto, the Dyson, the Nest. There isn't one of those for garbage disposal. The only access to competition now is you can buy a more powerful one or a less powerful one, but the user experience is exactly the same. And as we established, people really don't like it. Where are we at as a company? Well, we built one of these things. We're taking pre-orders. Our CAC looks great. Like $35, $40 right now on a product we're retailing for $500 to $600. All our market research shows that people love it. It's been a huge hit on social media. And so what we're doing is we're raising money to actually build these things, because once we can build them, we can sell them at a, frankly, really, really good, advantageous price for hardware. Our margins look fantastic, above 50% to start, and then they'll only get better from there. Well, there'll be some trade-offs as we go to retail and we go to places that are not D2C, which take a pretty big margin, but we're pretty confident in the long run we'll be able to keep that nice, very sweet spot of a 50% gross on a hardware product. And then our enzymes are just another way to boost that long-term customer value. We expect about a 50% increase in LTV from those enzymes. What are we doing, right? We're building, with that money, we're going to build manufacturing. We'll do our marketing. We'll sell a whole bunch of these, and then we'll expand channels. But I just burned through that pretty quick. But like the core idea behind what we're doing here is we're building just a good product in a space that has never had one. The garbage disposal was invented 100 years ago. They've never really been updated. They're fundamentally the same. They're really good at grinding food, and they don't do anything else well, right? People have them, but they don't use them, which is a really fun and interesting market to compete in. So that's what we're doing.
If I would invest in hardware, that would probably be it. I'm very bullish on this, or maybe I can find a way. Who knows? Go to market, Tim. I think you're the go to market guy, right?
Yeah, I am.
Okay, so how do you get to market as fast as possible in these big boys shelves?
Yeah, the best way to get yourself into Home Depot and Lowe's, having done a ton of research and talked to everyone we can about it, is to be really successful somewhere else. They take longer time frames to be in a Lowe's and a Home Depot as it is. It can be up to a 2-year wait. But the easiest way to jump that line is put yourself in a strong negotiating position. If I sell 5,000 of these online D2C and through Amazon, where it's relatively easy to get to, then it's not a question of me begging Home Depot and Lowe's to put me in. It's a question of them begging me to be in their stores, because they'll love the margins, they'll love everything about it. So it's just putting yourself in a really strong position. And unlike every other garbage disposal in the space, ours is you see it and you go, aha, I got it. I have seen it. It works really well on social. Our social media impressions have been really fantastic. And so start there. Go to D2C, move to Amazon once you have sold and worked out the kinks of the logistics for it, and then use that power, because surprisingly a lot of people buy them on Amazon, to then go and be in a really strong position. We're also working already with we're in discussions with some small retail outlets in smaller geographies. We'll give them a short term of exclusivity, and then use that to see what really connects, dial in how the experience of seeing one of these in a showroom looks, and then take that knowledge. And so when you hit Home Depot and Lowe's, we're on the ground running.
So you talked about the bioenzymes, and I thought that was, because again, I was like, okay, you buy one of these, you have them forever. Like, what is the thing to keep the customer engaged? So talk to us a little bit about the bioenzyme and what that looks like and what that purchase would look like.
Yeah, so our bioenzymes that are injected multiple times a day, we're targeting twice a day. That would give us just about a 3-month replacement cycle. They'll sell for somewhere between, depending on what the actual numbers end up looking like, $15 to $25 per quarter, which is like enough to be very profitable for us, but not so much that people are immediately dropping it. I think people will pay $4 to $5 a month to improve that. The distribution there, I would love to sign people up for subscriptions. We'll offer them, don't even have to think about it. We have that steady replacement cycle, so people will just get them on a regular schedule, but they're also easy to sell in any other form. We'll sell 4-packs or whatever people want to buy a year in advance.
Yeah, and what do margins look like? Like, usually, obviously, when you go to retail, like the cost to go there is a lot. So, like, what does that look like going into like a Home Depot or a Lowe's?
Home Depot and Lowe's, they will start their negotiations just around 50%. So whatever we'll sell, if they're selling them for $600 to $650, that we'll have to sell them to them for $300 to $325. Right now, our COGS means that is even like doable and profitable, just not great. But we expect the COGS to drop pretty significantly as you expand, right? Because that number 220 for like is right off the jump. That's one production run. We'll be working on expanding and working with our partners. We think we can easily bring that down into the 160-ish range, which would give us that very nice 50% gross margin, even at Home Depot and Lowe's. And if we sell enough of these, we probably can negotiate better than 50% from Home Depot. But it's just a question of how well we succeed off the jump.
Awesome. Great. Thank you.
What's the existing solutions out there, and could you actually demo the product in Home Depot? What would be the cost of that, having your own little station in which people could drop items into there safely and demonstrate with a screen of how it works?
Yeah, the existing market is InSinkErator has 70% of it, Moen has 25%, and a company called Jamaica has about 5%. And all their products are completely interchangeable. There is really no differentiation, which is another part of the reason we really like this opportunity. So, and InSinkErator isn't on social. They don't do that type of work. Basically, there's just, it's greenfield for a hardware product, which is pretty unusual to be in. For demoing a product, it'd be maybe tough at Home Depot and Lowe's, but a surprising number of people buy their stuff, especially our initial core target customer, which is like the high end. It's people who are renovating their kitchens, people building new home constructions custom. They tend to buy not at Home Depot and Lowe's. That's like our mass market strategy. But our core target demographic would be people who go to like a Ferguson or a high-end showroom and that kind of stuff. We can set one up. It's like if they have a working sink, it costs us essentially nothing to install one and set it up. It takes 30 minutes of our time to set it up if they have the right connections. If they don't, we actually have a road show, like a little mobile sink that we can tour around. It only costs us maybe like less than $1,000 to put one together. I'm pretty sure we can, not including disposal, I'm pretty sure we could build those at scale and deploy them anywhere that anyone wanted one for just a couple grand probably, because it would just be a question of putting it in there and letting people run loose with it.
So will you charge for installation if they buy on the website?
If you buy on the website, we've talked about going and having professional installers, but this is so simple, and like we're actually trying to make it easier to install than the current garbage disposal on as many axes as possible. And so the current system of people install it themselves, which is 40-ish% of the market, or 60% have a plumber do it. It's not really worth us. It doesn't require any special effort. Any plumber can install this. Most homeowners can install it. It doesn't really make sense to build out all of that infrastructure to do it ourselves. So I give you the product. You're already going to install your own disposal, or you have a plumber do it. So ours is exactly the same.
Hey, one last one, Sonny. I'm just interested deeply by this. The bioenzymes, is there refill every month or?
Every 3 months, so 4 times a year, quarterly.
And what's the cost?
We're targeting somewhere between 15 and 25. I believe it'll probably come in at something like $20 every 3 months.
And what's your margins on that?
We're getting a margin projected about 58%.
I'm sold. I love it. Sonny, any questions?
Yeah, no, you actually asked a bunch of the ones I was thinking about, but yeah, great job on the presentation. You're offering small retailers short-term exclusivity, right?
Geographically speaking, yeah.
Right. So what are you asking for, I guess, in return? Is it guaranteed volume, like showroom placement, install partnerships?
I'm not planning to do this like across the country. These are essentially like, we're running them as tests to see, we get them in there, we'll see what their kind of sales look like. We try and figure that out. So what we're getting is like market data about our customers and how they buy and all of that stuff. So it'd mostly be like targeting non-major geographies. Southern Utah is one that we're kind of talking to now, because like there's a good market there. There's a lot of custom home construction, but at the same time, we're not like shooting ourselves in the foot by not being in Home Depot and Lowe's there, at least in the short term.
Got it. Got it. Cool. Cool. And then you said it's easier to install than current disposals, right? And easier
Depends,
for
but
who?
yeah.
A DIYer? Yeah, I was gonna say, is it or easier for a plumber? I mean,
Mostly
those are
easier
two
for a
different-
DIYer. Like a plumber, it's the same. Like a plumber can install a disposal very quickly and doesn't care about the additional water line that you need for it. A home consumer, you do have to tee off a water line, which is more work, but the actual installation into the bracket and how to do it is much easier. It's not like, it doesn't require balancing the same way. It's just a plug and play. So if you have the right like type of faucet to match, it is
Right.
easier than a current one.
Cool. One last one. Yeah, I'll let you go here.
Mm-hmm.
So Home Depot, I guess you're saying starts at what, 50%, right? And you said you might negotiate better if you succeed off the jump. What sell-through number gives you that leverage? And can you, like, how long can you fund the business waiting for it?
A long time. Again, if we could sell 5,000 of these this year, we are cash flow positive right off the jump. We've seen demand, obviously, and I'm pretty confident that if we had the money to do the marketing and we had products to sell, right? No one in the history of the world has ever bought a garbage disposal or pre-ordered a garbage disposal. It's just not a human concept until now, but we're seeing people like very excited to do it. We have a good CAC. I think probably our target would be to go to retail, having sold something like 40 or 50,000 of these things next year.
All right. Thank you very much.
Let's go to the next one. Thank you, Tim.
Thanks, Tim.
Becca, can you share yours? Oh, I have it here. Perfect.
Yeah. Wow, my product is so different. But Tim, I want that garbage disposal because our breaks, like, I think every 18 months we have to replace ours. So I need that one. All right, guys, my product is super different, but my name is Lekha Vyas, and I'm the founder and CEO of Sync Wellness. So think vegan Ozempic in a Listerine strip, and we're building the future of metabolic health with oral dissolving strip technology. So metabolic health has become almost a trend and mainstream. So we know GLP-1 drugs work, and they have changed consumer behavior around weight loss forever. Nearly 20 million prescriptions are written in the US, but there's still one big unanswered question. What happens when people want to get off? So today there is no established wrap off, but we do have weight rebound after stopping the drugs. Cost is super high. Side effects are pretty crazy, especially in the menopause and perimenopause category. And there is still a long-term dependency. And for the consumers that don't want prescription drugs, the natural alternatives are primarily in capsules and gummies, and they're like very highly lacking efficacy. And that's where Sync comes in. We have developed a patent-pending plant-based metabolic formula delivered through fast-dissolving oral strip. It's designed for GLP-1 user ramp-offs and millions of consumers that are looking for natural alternatives and not pharma drugs. We target 5 metabolic pathways at the same time compared to other supplement brands that only target maybe 1 or 2 pathways. And I'm going to show you a quick product demo. So it comes in this sealed pouch. Every pouch is vacuum sealed, and the strip pretty much looks like this. It's like a Listerine strip. You peel it off, and you take the strip. You can either put it on your tongue or the roof of your mouth. I'm going to put it on the roof because I'm going to talk. And now it's just going to stick there and dissolve in seconds. And when the strip dissolves, it goes directly into your bloodstream, bypassing the gut entirely. But a better format means nothing if the product doesn't work. So we actually tested Sync across 100 participants in a 6-week trial human study, and we saw people lose up to 6 to 13 pounds. I think one of the users actually lost 16 pounds in the 6-week period. Appetite and hunger is down by 60%. We have seen significant improvements in blood sugar by minus 20 mg per DL, and about 94% people adhere to using the product and will continue to use so. So our mode is not just our formulation. It's a combination of our patent pending formula along with the delivery technology. We have pretty strong traction already. We have spent $0 marketing dollars, and we have built about 4,800 people on our organic wait list. Our pre-orders sold out. It was 200 pre-orders that sold out within 48 hours. And we continue to build momentum, and this is done with no spend. Sync Burn, which is our GLP-1 alternative, is just the beginning, and we are going to expand Sync into a consumer delivery platform with oral dissolving strips across alcohol replacement, peptides, hormone health, and your vital vitamins. We're tapping into a very large market opportunity. We know that the weight loss market is at $1 trillion. Just the natural supplements market is positioned at $77 billion. We did our bottoms up SOM, and we came up with a $700 million number. So we're just trying to take a chunk of this massive market, and the timing is actually perfect right now. So from a unit economic standpoint, our product is $70 for a 30-day supply. So each box will have 30 strips in it, individually packed. We're also looking at a 60-day supply that's going to be priced at $110 because we want to keep our AOV high. Single strips, that's usually, we're going to market it as weight maintenance, and 2 strips are going to be 2 strips a day before each meal is going to be marketed as weight loss product. So that keeps our AOV high. 110 is going to be on subscription, and our LTV and our repeat purchase is baked into this model. And our margins are about 90%, and that is not at scale. So why us? I am a second-time founder. I have spent over 15 years in building and incubating consumer brands across P&G, L'Oreal, Estée Lauder, Chanel, and I've built a pretty technical and growth team around me with medical, pharma, retail, and marketing advisors on my team. We're raising up to $500,000 and a $5 million cap on a safe, and that's going to help us fund our go-to-market, our new product innovation, and our launch. So come join us on this journey to make Sync the next big oral dissolving strip technology.
I love it. Like I told you, my first business was a nootropic, right? So not GLP-1 for sure, but I dig it. Just that as a buyer, I mean, I would use your product, right? Like I would buy it, especially if you ship to Mexico. But as a biohacker, I don't do strips. You know, like why has strips never come on my radar? Do you feel people want these?
Yeah. So why strips have never become mainstream? So I'll tell you why. So typically it's always been pills and gummies. Like that's the entire world is used to that. Strips in the past could only hold up to like 9 to 20 mgs. And now there's strip technologies and manufacturers that have actually built pharma drugs. So a lot of people actually don't know. But strips are used for children and elderly. And this is how I actually came up with this, because when my mom got diagnosed with cancer, she couldn't swallow water or food. So we had to put the GI tube in her stomach to funnel the water and the food in her. And that's when my friend, who's actually Sirish, he's also our technical formulator, and he was creating a Narcan in a strip. So strips are being used in hospitals for medical pharma administration of drugs. So those strips end up holding a lot. Now, there's a lot of difficulty in making these strips, and that's why they never became mainstreams. But right now, there's a lot of brands that are being funded, probably over $1 million, and they are either pre-revenue, early revenue, and it's becoming mainstream. Now we have probably about 17 to 20 suppliers in the world that manufacture strips anywhere from the strip weight going from 30 mg all the way up to 300 to 500 mg. It's not an easy supply chain, and you have to have some R&D or technical background to be able to figure out taste masking, efficacy, molecules, and Daltons. Like you have to have that understanding to be able to come up with a successful strip. We went through 75 iterations of this formula to get it right. And I think now we actually have a product that is efficacious, it works, and it's ready to go to market.
Kelly?
What is like the main ingredient in this, in the 2 main ingredients in the product?
So I will tell you a couple of them. So it's 7 actives, 7 bioactives. Oh, thank you, whoever is managing my deck. I think, Charles, I took that slide out, the one you and I had seen before, just to shrink the number of slides.
I didn't, but didn't you have the ingredients in there? It's a good question.
I did, because it's proprietary. I'm really trying to keep it on a DL until we get to market. So our main product is actually a 5-time concentrate of berberine. So berberine is all nature's Ozempic. We have a dehydroberberine. So dehydroberberine is more bioavailable, and you don't need too much of, and it actually works really fast.
Yep. No, I'm very familiar with that, because again, co-founder of the Honey Pot, obviously been in women's space for a long time, and also myself going through perimenopause, like that is something that a lot of people talk about is the berberine. So that's really great to know that is a product in there. Obviously you have a tremendous background in building brands. What is your go-to-market strategy right now, and what's your timing look like?
So we're actually 10, maybe 12 weeks away, hopefully not, but 10 weeks away from launch. Of course, because of my iterations, it got pushed out. We were supposed to have a summer launch, but I'm not going to try to spend too much money going to market, because I think I've shot about 14 podcasts. Podcasts tend to do really well for us. We're going to be using that for ads. We are going to be TikTok first and then Amazon. And we are working already with, we have narrowed down to 100 influencers that we're going to be launching with. And that's going to be an affiliate model. So that's rev share at the beginning. And then I'm in discussions with 3 celebrity nutritionists and doctors to kind of be our spokesperson from the get-go. And I want to keep them on board, because as we launch things like hormone health and peptides, hormone health is going to be massive, because that's targeting menopause and perimenopause and endometriosis and things like that. So we want to keep people kind of like staying with us. We do have a path to exit in like 3 to 5 years. And with this innovation, it's super doable if we just follow the Grooms model. So we're kind of copy pasting that a little bit.
Sunny?
Yeah, I was gonna say a great presentation. My dad's actually coming off of Ozempic right now. And so this hits home. Can you walk me through his kind of like first 90 days on Sync? Like, what does he feel in week 1 that kind of convinces him, that this isn't just another supplement?
Oh, for sure. So, I think once people actually see the ingredients, like even from a medical perspective, like my dad, he's off of metformin. He's a diabetic. I cannot make these claims right now. So the first 90 days, we're actually going to be leveraging my content as a founder, going to be whiteboarding everything. And we're going to be working with medical professionals to shoot content and educate people on this. The second thing that we're doing, and our focus initially, it's going to be a lot of education. And the second thing that I haven't discussed in the deck, because that is in the work behind the scenes, is actually for people to be able to, we're building an AI layer integration. So people can actually upload their CBCs from Function Health or Superpower, or even from your doctors, where you have your A1C, you have your BMI, you have your weight, and you have your basically all the biomarkers that we need, the baselines, to be able to track, like, do you need 1 strip a day? Do you need 2 strips a day? Do our ingredients actually work with your blood profile or not? And we're going to be very candid from an audience perspective and as a brand perspective, to make sure that we tell them if we don't have something that is going to work for them, we'll send them to other brands. And that's going to be our back end B2B affiliate model of referral to other people.
Interesting. Hey, one more thing. So you said 100 people, something like 6 weeks, 6 to 13 pounds. Like, was there a placebo arm, and like who ran it? And there was. Okay. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah. In a clinic.
And then also, just I guess one last one, the 80% actives absorption you were talking about. So that's kind of a bold number versus 20%, right, for capsules. Is that also your own data or third party bioavailability?
That's our supplier data, actually. So all the manufacturers, like, typically you have to do assay testing on a technology that you have an IP on. So we have 2 different manufacturers, and they both have an IP on their strip technology. So they have done studies with the University of Cincinnati and Florida and stuff, and they have their own data. And it's anytime, the other main education piece that we're going to be focusing on as a brand is differentiating between anything that goes through your gut, because with your stomach acids, it breaks down, and then you have to take a lot more. That's why we do take like a couple of capsules a day for anything to absorb, and it takes forever. When you take the strip, it's absorbing through a submucosal membrane directly into the blood. And that's where the absorption is just generally higher.
Gotcha. Cool. Thank you very much. Really appreciate it.
Let's announce a winner. Gonna bring everyone on stage, or at least or opinions of the winner. I would go with Tim for sure. Greg second. I really like both presentations. I could definitely see myself staying behind that. Sunny, who was your favorite today?
I thought there was a lot of really great presentations. I think the one that stood out the most, I thought I was really impressed with Greg and Tim in terms of what they were talking about, but also that last presentation really hit home. So.
Yeah, I like the last one too. Kelly, any favorites today?
Yeah, I think we're on the same page. Tim, I think what fascinated me about you is that you're going after something that nobody has looked at in 40 years. And so I love that. I think that's really smart. And Greg, the market that you're going into, I think it's really interesting. And I particularly had a friend that just went through this with her elbow. So I totally got what you were saying. And like, I think this is really exciting what you're doing. So I think it's amazing, but everybody had great presentations today.
There you go. Well, thanks for tuning in. That was